defense of your peace.
Where there is hatred, let us sow love.
Where there is injury, pardon.
Where there is doubt,
Faith. Where there is despair, hope.
Where there is darkness,
light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master,
grant that we may not so much seek
to be consoled as to console,
to be understood as to understand,
to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive,
it is in pardoning that we are pardoned,
and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Here is your WESN News on the Hour. I'm Naomi McNish. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Search continues for missing Tobago fishermen. SOE Tribunal reviews 2 detainee complaints amid ongoing detentions. Moruga man arrested after child abuse video goes viral. And internationally, Elon Musk defends U.S. government overhaul. Now for the details. Authorities and volunteers are searching for 2 fishermen who went missing off Tobago on February 11th. The men left Pigeon Point early that morning but never returned. The TNT Air Guard, Coast Guard and Tobago Emergency Management Agency are involved in the search. Fisher Folk Association President Curtis Douglas criticized the delay, blaming the lack of a long-promised rescue boat. A Moruga man has been arrested after a video surfaced of him abusing his 9-year-old son and threatening him with a knife. The Special Victim Department detained the 43-year-old suspect, and the Children's Authority has removed the child and his 2 younger brothers from the home. Police are continuing their investigation. 2 detainees held under the state of emergency have filed complaints against their detention under the emergency powers regulations. The review tribunal, chaired by Senior Counsel Deborah Peake, has held 2 hearings and submitted 1 report to National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines. However, the detainees' attorneys have yet to receive it. Since the SOE was declared on December 30th, Hines has issued 18 detention orders, with detainees identified as high-risk individuals linked to violent crimes, gang activity and firearm trafficking. The tribunal is tasked with reviewing each case and determining whether continued detention is necessary. Hearings are conducted privately, with detainees allowed to present their case personally or through legal representation. Internationally, Elon Musk has denied claims of a hostile takeover of the U.S. government as he leads a major cost-cutting initiative under President Donald Trump. Speaking at the White House, Musk defended efforts to reduce federal spending and shrink government agencies, calling them common-sense reforms. Critics, including Democrats, argue the changes lack transparency and could have serious repercussions. Trump has signed an order giving Musk's Department of Government Efficiency more power to reduce the federal workforce. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Naomi McNish. Thanks for watching.
WESN.
This is Face of Sports WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the game.
no.
Let's go to the last part.
This is 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
WESN.
Good morning. I'm Naomi Macnish, your host this morning. Welcome to AM Prime. It's another start to a beautiful day. So let's kick it off this morning with Miss Avanel Hector. She's the founder of Is There Not a Cause TT. Good morning, Miss Hector, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Naomi, and thanks for having me.
Of course. Ms. Hector, so for those of us who are not familiar with Is There Not a Cause, can you give us a brief overview of the organization and its mission?
Okay, so we don't actually use TT in terms of the name, in the sense that for Facebook and stuff, we might make the distinction. But we were founded in 2002. That means that in March, we would be 23 years in existence.
Wow. And
to the best of our knowledge, and we say that with godly pride and humility, because, you know, it has been a journey to here, to come to this place. As far as we know, we are one of the most, if not the most, far-reaching, regionally based NGO. And by that we say, we have a lot of big organizations, but most of them are branches of something from America, something from Geneva, some other part of the world. But we were built in right here in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Caribbean region, based here with a local reach, a regional reach, and an international reach. We have different projects globally, spanning from Kenya, coming India, through to coming from Haiti, down the Caribbean, Jamaica, Bahamas, straight down to where we are, the most southerly isle. We've also done work in Venezuela. So we've covered different parts of the world. We've worked in Louisiana. So we are a relief and a development agency. Relief, there's a disaster of some kind. We are there to assist and development, to work into communities, try to identify the challenges that those communities face and see how we can effectively reach those communities.
Right. So Is There Not a Cause is not solely for Trinidad and Tobago. You do reach other parts of the world. That's what I'm...
Definitely.
Right.
And the funny thing about it is that, you know, back in the day, because we had such a strong work going on in Haiti, which is kind of like on pause in many aspects. People used to call us the Haiti people. And a lot of people still don't know that we do work locally, and not just do work locally, but the extent of the work that we do locally. We are there housing persons daily. We have transition housing and other stuff. But the other day I said something, and somebody made a rather ignorant statement. Said, "Why doesn't she go back to Haiti and help the people there? That's where she belongs."
Oh.
That is where my heart is. Yes, but our work speaks for itself, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Our work is there to show what we do and how
Ms.
we are
Hector,
impacting lives daily.
on that, what is some of the most pressing issues that is there not a causes addressing currently?
We've got youth in crisis in Trinidad and Tobago. And many of our keyboard warriors, they get on social media and they attack our youth. And I'm not saying that they're not culpable. I'm not saying that parents are not culpable, but parents come from the society. Children come from society. So, you can get on your keyboard, but the crisis that we've seen, the 21-year-old youth that was murdered on Charlotte Street after he attempted to snatch the chain. We were involved with that. We would have visited the family, provided clothes for him to be buried in his whatever support. One of the young persons in the family is pregnant. We look to see how we can help this family through a traumatic time and how we can not have recurrences of Emmanuel. In fact, we are working on a project right now called the Emmanuel Project. Right? That was actually birthed in youth response. The young girl who would have committed suicide, she was 12 years old. She was laid to rest last Friday. And out of that, my daughter, who is part of ICNTT, she has launched her own initiative, Youths of Purpose, and they launched this Saturday at the Chamber of Commerce building in Westmoreland. So that crisis with our youth, how do we intervene, give them a sense of purpose, give them a sense of direction? How do we work with the families that these people are from? Hunger, not the Hunger Games, not Squid, not what we were talking about from Super Bowl, but our own Hunger Games right now. In fact, it's not a game. The only game that exists is the game that the politicians are playing, because they are either woefully ignorant, disingenuous by pretending it does not exist. But we've got a serious hunger issue here where by the time we get to people, they haven't eaten 2-3 days. So it's really bad. So hunger and housing. Last week alone, we would have saved 3 to 4 moms, single moms and families by rushing to the bank, even one person borrowing, lending the opposition personal funds to get a stay of eviction, to pay the thing. There is the rent assessment, rent assistance that the state provides, but you only allow that for a particular time, 3 months, and then there's a cycle, of course, because the state can't pay everybody rent. Let's be realistic.
Right.
So how we are going to address the issue of housing in Trinidad? We don't have a functional rental assessment board, so every landlord who doesn't have a conscience puts up a 2x4 and charges people a pound and a crown. We've seen some horrible, inhumane situations where no human being should have to live, but people are desperate. And up to yesterday, we dealt with a family, and what is coming across more and more is that more moms and more families are thinking of suicide. Call it what it is, out, unalive, all of those nice things. They are thinking about ending their life because the pressure is so much. And that's a challenge that we're facing more and more, and it's very draining.
Right.
But, as a non-state funded, not particularly corporate funded organization, we are there doing the best. We get called up, the call that we got yesterday to that family, their lives have been cut since Monday. Right? It came quite from Canada. So people near and wide would call us all over the world and say, listen, I have a family in Trinidad and XYZ. I heard about them, or a friend of a friend. Can you please help them? And we do what we can with the resources that we have. We have 3 transition houses where we house spaces, but there are only so many people we can house. We are working on opening our city outreach center and our mobile kitchen. The truck is there. We're in the process of wrapping it, and getting out there so that we can drive around to different communities on different days, and we can serve fresh meals. We're going to start with 2 days a week, and as donation comes in, as people see the vision, we can expand and do the needful. So we're extremely, it's a lot. It can be overwhelming at times if you're wondering, But we don't just want to sit back and fold our hands like many, many other NGOs who are in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why, as bad as it is, the social impact is being cushioned to a great extent by the human service rendered by many, many, many NGOs. You would be surprised how many of us are on the ground. Without I probably, because I push a lot of social media, but a lot of them, you won't know about them. A lot of them without any funding or recognition from the government. They're doing what they have to do through homework centers, soup kitchen. Like you just name it, they're out there because our society, in all that we're seeing on top, there's a whole, it's like an iceberg, there's a whole lot of stuff underneath that we don't see.
Right. Ms. Hector, so on the topic of financing and your resources, as an NGO, can you tell us a little bit about how you acquire finances to help these families and individuals, as well as the resources to assist?
Okay, so let me just say, there's a notion that we get help from the government. No, we don't. Not yet. Maybe one day. We will have gotten $10,000 in 2022, 10,000 TT, and way back into the early 2000s when Mr. Roger Boyne, Chief Minister, he would have assisted us. People say things like, so again, how money from the government, or how are you doing it? We do it because we are a faith-based organization. And faith means that we put our faith in a God who is able to provide. So God speaks to the hearts of people. People who are committed. Like if I were to show you my phone, you would see how many screenshots of grannies who put their $100 every month. How many screenshots of grannies who put their $200 or their $50. There's one lady, she put $75. Many years ago, there was this lady, God bless her soul, she would pass every week, she would give $5. And we value that $5. We value that journey, that trip that she made up that step on Charlotte Street every month. Every month or every week, I can't remember, I have to double check. To give a contribution, because our partners, our grassroots base, they believe in what we do, they believe in who we are, they have bought into the vision. So our main source of support, we have the one-off time Digicel has supported our 3 projects. They've been an integral part of our city outreach project. Persons will be able to come, have showers, get toothpaste, toothbrush, that kind of thing. But by and large, even the building that we are buying now, the building that we bought in 2013, 2012, 2013, when we did something called Plenty for 20, and our members were all over the world, all over the place, just saying, can you just give $20? Because your 20 can do plenty. We did videos, social media started being a thing then. And right now we are on the Challenge 100, asking persons to give $100. Because people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. But if I tell you, let's say I'm going to buy $1 million, $1 billion for $1 million, or $2 million, you can help me, you might say in your mind. Your mind begins to think, the average mind, well, I have no money, I can't support that. But if I tell you that if you have $20, or if you could sacrifice to put $3.33 in a bottle for 30 days, empty it out at the end, that's $99 and some cents, if my math's right. Then people can own the process. So that is the approach that we have taken over. In time to come, one day we will have those $1 million beneficiaries and benefactors who will still listen. I given you 50,000 US, I gave you 100,000 US. So we got money from Rockefeller on 2 occasions, Rockefeller Foundation,
Yeah.
But by and large, for the most part, it is through our donors giving and multiple events. This year you want to hold on the event a bit because we really need to do some project in the communities that are labor intensive. So we've sacrificed fundraising events to increase our activities in terms of what we need to do. So we are in the Carnival Village, for example, by Shoes Kitchen, selling T-shirts, collecting donations, walking around, asking persons, giving out cards, just certain persons, not just asking donation, but this is who we are. Would you like to come on board, be a part, lend your goods, lend your services? But right now, Project 100 is a big thing. We're getting different artists, gospel artists, secular music artists. We got one at Bigfoot to do an endorsement. Omari, we're speaking to Pan and Bungie because they are long-standing partners and supporters. So we could be in their fit. So somebody having an event, you want to show up, be there with our boxes and our information card. People mightn't be able to give now. They can keep the card, they can hear about just maybe they're changing their furniture, maybe they're changing their car. They can say, look, guys, take this or whatever it is.
Yeah. So, Ms. Hector, there's 2 things I want to touch on before we finish today. The first thing, as an NGO, do you have an opinion, or can you talk a little bit on how you believe NGOs and the government can work together to better serve those in need, like yourself and the causes that come up?
Okay, so I've spoken on this so many times. You know, sometimes I give up.
Right.
And some days I get up and I have fresh hope. And with every new regime, I have fresh hope that is often dashed. I think that in 2007 or 2009, when we had Chogam, Mr. Manning, God rest his soul, he would have had a really nice event. Food was good, cost taxpayers a lot of money aboard the cruise ship. And he spoke about the importance for a tripartite approach, so to speak. The state, civil society, and private sector coming together. I'm trying to be politically correct. A lot of how you get supported in Trinidad and Tobago, because we're such a racially polarized, we're politically polarized, we're class polarized, we're very segregated. So a lot of people get funding because of who they are, not necessarily because of what they do. So if you were to look at what ICNTT has done for the last 23 years, building a safe house, opening up a city outreach center in the city with showers and a kitchen, counseling rooms, computers. They plan to help people to access funding and get on the computers to download their stuff. 3 safe houses, multiple programs, a migrant school. I can go on and on to things. You would think that the government would say, hey, you know, listen, let's get on board with this organization and help this organization. There are many persons who we've gotten $10,000 and some helping 2,000. But they have never, because of the government needs to understand, not with political rhetoric, not with denial, but face what is. What our citizens
I mean, Ms. Hector, in what ways would you put yourself out there to be seen or heard by the government?
Well, I put myself out there. I've met with the minister, spoken to different persons, made suggestions. So, for example, there are a lot of buildings that are out there being abandoned, state buildings, and we suggest this and pass them on to the NGOs, proper legal documents, the building a silent trust. So, example, if we got some of the buildings that are in Las Lomas by ECIAC that are just rotten, or maybe down in Macreep under the CDA or whatever, in fact, they'll give it to somebody to have a hotel. Give us those buildings, not just us, qualified NGOs with a specific project, a specific program. Persons who need safe houses. Our women are being slaughtered. The government's approach, other than political rhetoric, choose your woman wisely, your man wisely, whatever nonsense. How does that help me as a woman?
Yeah.
We are there on the ground, do a listing of the NGOs so we know, listen to me. There is a listing, but it needs to be updated. These are the NGOs, and they know because they call me all the time. I get calls from, and I say media organization, but on my phone because I manage the phone. We have a family. We get calls from family service. We get calls from poverty reduction. We even got calls from fire services. The Prime Minister's office with the thing. 800 save. They all call us. And we've got a mother here. She needs somebody to say, Children's Authority, they have a family, because we're the only organization that I know of that it takes the whole family. So if you know that these organizations are legitimate, put your money where there are resources that the states can tap into to help NGOs that are out there, so that, because you see, state operations requires a lot of bureaucracy and procedure. But when it's Friday afternoon and that mother is in the Office of Social Development with no food and no clothes and no place to go, you need to call 3942042. Hi, good morning. I'm XYZ of XYZ and ABC's situation. Can you help us? Do you have any room? Because you all know that we are there. You all calling us and you all know once we have room, we make it up. If we don't have room, and sometimes the situation is such, I mean, it's a case of bleeding hearts. One of our members, we put it in our chat, some members going to pick up the family, some next member will keep them on a couch or whatever it is, or carry put them. So they're NGOs like us, and we know that we are not the only one, because I meet people, right? So people laugh at me, they call me beggar, they say they don't know how to do it, or whatever be on social media. But if this is what we need to do what we have to do, we are committed to the process, because we don't take it lightly. It's a God mandate, but I wish that the government would take it serious. Tomorrow, we have to clear goods from a donor in the States, right? To try to get a tax exemption, that's not going to cost the money, the government, the States, and the loss of revenue might foot. So those kind of things give companies better write-offs and greater incentives to support the works of NGOs. through tax write-off, like in the States with a 501c3 registration. Once you have that, there's a clear pathway. John wants to give, ABC company wants to give their no. Okay, once they give to this 501c3, there's X tax percentage, whatever. When April comes, they can claim it. It's not a whole monkey pan. I want to import something, even if I have this special thing, I have to write after this. It's too complicated. So NGOs like us, we do not have time to beg the government, to try to beg. We have work to do, and we have to prioritize sometimes, just not be accessed. So there's funding through community development. But I remember one time we worked a project, and I laughed. I said, the only thing they asked was to color my underwear. Yeah. And we never got the money. There's another time we were buying a building, and I would have gone right down to the partnership, to the Prime Minister at the time. So the Prime Minister to make an appeal. She said yes. Then the time I came down to the minister responsible, we lost the building. You know, we lost 500 and something. So we beg. But we thank God that since then we have been graced with many properties that we can really help. One lady even gave us a property. That's our transition house in Central. So through legislation, for example, utility rates. There's a commercial utility rate and there's a residential utility rate, right? So where we have our base, because it's a commercial property, guess what? It's a residential rate. And then when we buy our next 2 buildings that we're going to buy for the Youth Outreach Center and for our base, home base, they will fall on it. So these are things you can do, have concessions.
So Ms. Hector, on that topic, Project Home Base, that is something that you all have launched right now, and you are calling for support of persons to help in obtaining this operational base. Can you just talk a little bit about that, and how can individuals show their support or get involved to assist you all in getting that?
Sure. So if you would have come to our operations base at present on the Western Main Road in St. James, upstairs for instance, maybe you came during the last, I can't remember what's the name of the, it's a B name for the last hurricane relief, right? You'll have seen how woefully inadequate our spacing. But we don't just say, well, we don't have no space. We do the best. We come, a small building, we put a part for the school. We have a school for the migrant children. We got the thrift shop. We pack stuff for things we, clothes that we have to give away. Then we have stuff that needs to be sorted. There's an area for that for them to come to volunteer to sort. Then we have food supplies and other supplies as they come in. During that relief, we had to line the staircase. It was just crazy. But we did the best we can. So we need a place to call home. We call it Project Home Base. Project Home Base. And that's where we need 6,000 persons. 6,000 persons to give $100. Each, if you can't give 100, maybe you could tell your friends in the office, guys, put together 5 by 20. We bank with First Citizens Bank. My phone number has been on the screen. Please feel free to call me. We have Use. That's an app you can just go into and scan it, and you can send the money to the account. If you're overseas, we've got a GoFundMe, and we've got a FundMe as well. So we really need a place where we can be more effective. Imagine we're doing all of this with such limited resources. If we can get a place that we can call our own, that we can expand, we can do proper warehousing, proper inventory, and a lot of our members are over 60. I'm over 53. Menopause, bones, I have to be careful. So the lifting of these stairs and things are a bit of a challenge. We need a place with a lift that can really take the goods upstairs. And a nice proper working area. So those who are in the warehousing, they can be there, a cool place. It's very hard because we have to keep, you have to pack down for this event, rack back up, pack stuff on the weekend, clear the space for school on the Monday. And we just need your support. So we are asking Trinidad, and I'm sure there are more than 6,000 persons looking at this live. If you can at least give $100, it's going to make a big difference. So I just want to thank TNT in advance.
Of course. Ms. Hector, thank you so much. We do have to wrap up, but I appreciate you joining us on the program this morning and sharing a little bit about what you do and Is There Not a Cause. The initiatives that you take are incredible, and I do hope that the viewers feel the same sentiment and are willing to help and assist so that you all can get that home base that
Can
is
I
much
give you the
needed.
challenge? You just do a video, send it to me, say, hi, I'm Naomi of WESN, and I've accepted the challenge for 100. That's what the people have been doing. Then you encourage your sphere of influence to give 100.
I got you. Reach out to me after the show and let's talk about it.
Thank you. God bless you, and
Of
thanks again.
course.
You too.
All right. So that was Ms. Avenel Hector of Is There Not a Cause? You are welcome to support her. Her number is on the screen. Reach out to her and give that $100 to help them obtain their home base. We're going to move on with the show this morning, and we'll be right back.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
Welcome back to the program this morning. Moving along, our next conversation is with Mr. Rudolph Hanamji. We are talking about a Forex exchange seminar. It's a challenge that businesses and individuals across Trinidad and Tobago know all too well. But what are the real solutions? What are some good solutions? And how can the private sector play a role in unlocking Forex opportunities? So joining us this morning, Mr. Rudolph Hanamji, he's going to discuss the critical issues and a little bit about this seminar that is upcoming. Good morning, Mr. Hanamji.
Good morning to you and your viewers. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you. So Mr. Hinamji, just to start off, the Forex issue has been a long-standing challenge in Trinidad and Tobago. What makes this seminar different from previous discussions or attempts to say?
It's a very good question, because far too often over the years we've had enough conversation and not enough implementation, and I think Trinidad and Tobago suffers from an implementation crisis, and some of these other crises are really symptoms of that bigger problem. So on Monday the 17th at the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber headquarters, you actually have a number of chambers coming together with the private sector to position the discussion around conversion of ideas into action. The Maritime Capital, under the Maritime Capital Group, they have decided as a responsible corporate citizen to underwrite and promote this discussion, because they have for far too long been inundated, as have most of the financial institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, with complaints and reports of many businesses, in particular the SMEs, facing a deficit in accessing foreign exchange. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce released a report a few months ago in which 34% of respondents and most of the members of their chamber, as well as the Chaguanas Chamber and the Greater San Fernando Chamber of Commerce, most of those members are SMEs, and 34% of them reported having to wait over 4 weeks for foreign exchange access. So we're all, even the man in the street is quite familiar with the problem, and even the government itself, which is, by the way, the largest user of foreign exchange because of investment projects, even the government itself is strapped for foreign exchange in contemporary times. So that's what's going to make it different. The private sector is coming forward with a concerted objective of squaring the problem and delivering after the fact a roadmap that the members of the private sector can lobby in reference to and work hand in hand with the government to finally solve this problem.
Right. So, Mr. Himanji, can you possibly go into some of the, talk about some of the short or medium term solutions that will be explored during this seminar?
Certainly. You know, there is in Trinidad and Tobago a managed float system. It's not a free market exchange rate, which of course would change based on supply and demand. The central bank and the Ministry of Finance and other agencies look at the exchange rate, and they have been able to maintain it at a certain level. And of course, there's been a lot of talk about whether that should shift completely. One of the solutions is actually a much more strategic managed approach, so that over time you can help change the demand side by having slight moderate nominal increases, particularly in certain spaces, so that consumers' demand will reflect that nominal shift in the price. So a simple example might be that the average person who travels frequently, that person may decide, instead of taking 3, I may reduce my trips to 2 per year. That's more on the consumer side. In terms of the business sector, there is a demand for much more transparency in relation to how Forex is allocated, because of course the central bank has reported very effectively and transparently that it does inject into the financial services space what it deems as adequate foreign exchange to cover the necessary demands of the public, at least as far as its projections presented to the bank. However, many businesses are getting different positions from their financial institutions. There is not enough accountability, and of course there is the perception that larger institutions, larger companies have an inequitable access to foreign exchange. So both on the business and at the retail side, there are some of those shorter term solutions that we can look at. And then in the medium term framework, we have to look at more innovative solutions. Now, on the panel, apart from Mr. Baldat Miraj, Mr. Kiran Singh, and Ms. Vashti Gaidin, who represent the three chambers I mentioned earlier, you're also going to have the head of the University of the West Indies Economics Department here in St. Augustine, Dr. Conrad, and of course, senior economist Dr. Arjun, as well as noted businessman Sean Rampasad of Ramps Logistics. The three of them do have some very unique considerations that really haven't been widely discussed in the public. And I don't want to give away the discussion, but there are some solutions around currency swapping, financial paper, and other mechanisms that businesses can use to collaborate more effectively and engage in foreign exchange earnings development work. So there's going to be that level of conversation taking place in the room.
Right. So just in case our viewers did not know, so this seminar is a collaboration between Maritime and the Chamber. So can you talk a little bit about the Chamber's role in advocating for these Forex solutions?
So the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Greater San Fernando Chamber of Commerce, and the Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce, of course, represent three diverse, broad segments of the business community. And they have all, in their own ways, been advocating over the last few years. This is not a contemporary issue alone. They have been engaging with government officials, past and present administrations. They have been providing the government with data, access to their members, and a number of recommendations every year when we are preparing for the national budget. These chambers have submitted some of the recommendations and others that I have mentioned. Most of them, they are also encouraging their members to access as many of the state incentives for manufacturing and export capacity development. So both in the light manufacturing and in the services sectors, there is a lot of potential for our local businesses to export up the islands and internationally, and that can of course help them to earn their own foreign exchange. But at the same time, they are mindful that often members have no choice but to consider going outside of the formal network of foreign exchange access. So the members want to operate within the formal system. They want to find a mechanism to keep whatever foreign exchange they do earn in the local market, but at the same time have access to it on a consistent and transparent basis. So that is what the chambers have been advocating for. In this year, there is of course an opportunity for the private sector to have a little bit more gravitas, if you will, when they're speaking to the administration, because as we all are aware, this is a season when policymakers, politicians, tend to listen a little bit more. So we think that this is a right time to engage in this conversation in the first quarter of 2025. And again, that's why Maritime Capital had the foresight to really engineer this entire session.
One of the key topics is unlocking untapped opportunities. And I'm not sure if that's a theme for the seminar, but can you share an example of an opportunity that businesses or investors may be overlooking? So just to give us a little insight on what we can expect.
Well, one particular area that I have a personal interest in, because I was part of developing this mechanism over a decade ago, and I'm so happy to see it come to fruition, is the recent launch of the updated Special Economic Zones Authority legislation. And that legislation actually allows greater access for small and micro and medium enterprises to consider investing in operating a special economic zone where they can hive out some of their operations and actually export those and benefit from major tax incentives and other benefits under that legislative framework. So a simple example might be a technology company that is operating in Trinidad and Tobago with the high levels of growth in Guyana. For example, if they are able to navigate that space, they might be able to offer those services using homegrown talent right here in Trinidad and Tobago and earn some foreign exchange in Guyana. Now, that is, of course, a little easier said than done. And again, that is why if the business community is willing to unlock its capital, to return some of its foreign exchange into the economy and make these types of investments, you need to see an even greater response, a proactive response from the government, because even though there are a suite of incentives, there are still a few blockages that need to be removed to ensure that these unlocked opportunities really are knocked down. And remember, at the end of the day, if the business community thrives, then there is additional employment, there's increased taxation, so there's an overall benefit to the entire country.
Right. Mr. Hanamji, I just want to go back a little bit, like way back. Can you talk about your role in this seminar? What are you bringing to this?
Well, interestingly, I am one of the country's specialists in the area of public innovation, investment, promotion, and innovation. Earlier in my career, I would have been a part of several national conversations and national plan developments, so the tourism policy, the national audiovisual sector development policy, the international financial centers investment policy. So what I hope to offer in spaces like this is that broad perspective on how we can structurally re-engineer the economy and how we can definitely utilize all of the elements of our value proposition. I'll tell you something. We as Trinidad and Tobago citizens take several things that we have going for us for granted. There are a number of challenges that we are facing. However, with a 70% brain drain data point, and I mean that data point is debated from time to time, but take it for what you will, it means that we are actually fueling the growth and development of other nations with our people. Now, one of the things that we've always looked at from a national development lens is how can we attract our citizens in the diaspora to actually return to Trinidad and Tobago and to bring all of their expertise and innovative ideas and their energy and, of course, their income tax dollars back to the country. So my assistance here is really to ensure that Maritime Capital has been able to coordinate and to manage the activity. And then at the end of the day, we can publish and produce this roadmap that is critical for taking us forward. But it must be framed within the ecosystem within which we operate, and it must be true to investment and capital development principles that will provide robust outcomes. This has to be sustainable. It's not a flash in the pan fix, and people have to commit to it for the short to the long term, and on both sides, not just the private sector, but of course the government and the administration.
Right. So, Mr. Hanamji, what can we expect in terms of the outcome of this event, and will there be any follow-up actions or recommendations for policymakers?
So you will expect a very interactive, and I must say there are only a few seats left. Just quickly, you can reach out to registration at maritimefinancial.com, or you can use LinkedIn or Google and simply search for the event, contact the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, register today, because it's going to be a highly interactive session where the panelists will be sharing, as I said, some of their insights that have not necessarily been picked up in the broader ecosystem. And then they're going to engage with attendees to ensure that the attendees' input is incorporated into that roadmap. That roadmap will be a user-friendly one-pager, if you will, that the private sector can easily reference in moving forward, so that at any given moment when they have an opportunity to engage policymakers or to even enhance their own circle's understanding, they can use that as a tool. Then with some of the other next steps, the chambers will continue to engage, and we are sort of signaling the interest in developing with the government a foreign exchange resolution committee, working group, if you will, where both the public and private sector and other stakeholders are brought together, given a mandate and the resources and a timeline to actually get these blockages unlocked. So again, I don't want to give away too much of it. We can always come back to you after the fact and share, but please come down and have your voice, do your part in solving this challenge.
Right. So you've shared how viewers or interested person can get in contact with you or reach out to attend the seminar, but who is this seminar open to?
So primarily, Maritime Capital, as a company that believes in empowerment through education, they have undertaken to host sessions like these that really and truly are open to small, micro, medium enterprises and investors, individual persons out there in the wider citizenry who are interested in this area. They may have a personal interest in becoming an entrepreneur or investing their monies to earn foreign exchange, but they might also just be patriotic people who want to utilize their influence to ensure that the right outcomes are had in terms of the policy and unlocking these opportunities. So at the outset, we would say if you're a small, micro, medium enterprise, or also an individual investor interested in accessing foreign exchange, then you have a vested interest to show up and be there and be part of the conversation. After the fact, of course, we will be issuing publications and content around the conversation, so the wider public will benefit. And if I did not say it earlier, there is no cost to attending the session. Maritime Capital has undertaken this, as I said, as a good corporate citizen, and they are happy to be able to bring these parties together to have the conversation.
Yeah. When is the event, Mr. Hanamji?
So there's still a few more days for people to get on board. It's this Monday coming, the 17th of February. It's from 10 a.m. to 12:30, and there will be a networking lunch afterwards. It's being held at the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce's headquarters in West Moorings. And as I said, we are also partnering with the Greater San Fernando Chamber of Commerce and the Chaguanas Chamber of Commerce and the UE Department of Economics and RAMPS Logistics. So many persons are already registering from across the country, and we're expecting a diverse audience representative of all of our geographies and experiences. Even persons from Tobago have shown their interest.
Got it. So before we wrap up this segment this morning, is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers, just to, cement everything that has already been said?
As citizens, just take it from a very individual lens. This is a matter that affects us all, and there is the cut and thrust of daily life where we all have to focus on other things that are important to us. However, it is a moment where we can leverage our voices better. And if anything, just read a little bit more and go behind or lower than just the headlines. Take the time to truly understand the challenges that we are facing, because the energy sector has been the main contributor of foreign exchange for so long that any negative impact on that sector is going to have a knock-on effect on our daily lives. So that's just my personal call to action. Take a little time, each of us get to understand the problem better and figure out how you can use your influence to make Trinidad and Tobago a better country. Do your part, because if we all do our part together, we can build a better Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that sentiment, Mr. Hanamji. Thank you so much for joining me on the program this morning. It was very insightful, and I do hope that our viewers take what you are saying and, step out and really read beyond the headlines and just come to the event just to see what it's about, just to learn something new, learn something more. But I really appreciate you joining me.
Thank you very much for having us. And here's to a safe carnival for everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So that was Mr. Rudolph Hanamji of Forex Matters Seminar, which is coming up on Monday, the 17th of February from 10 a.m. at the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to move along with the program this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Here is your WESN News on the Hour. I'm Naomi McNish. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Search continues for missing Tobago fishermen. SOE Tribunal reviews 2 detainee complaints amid ongoing detentions. Moruga man arrested after child abuse video goes viral. And internationally, Elon Musk defends U.S. government overhaul. Now for the details. Authorities and volunteers are searching for 2 fishermen who went missing off Tobago on February 11th. The men left Pigeon Point early that morning but never returned. The TNT Air Guard, Coast Guard and Tobago Emergency Management Agency are involved in the search. Fisher Folk Association President Curtis Douglas criticized the delay, blaming the lack of a long-promised rescue boat. A Moruga man has been arrested after a video surfaced of him abusing his 9-year-old son and threatening him with a knife. The Special Victim Department detained the 43-year-old suspect, and the Children's Authority has removed the child and his 2 younger brothers from the home. Police are continuing their investigation. 2 detainees held under the state of emergency have filed complaints against their detention under the Emergency Powers Regulations. The review tribunal, chaired by Senior Counsel Deborah Peake, has held 2 hearings and submitted 1 report to National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines. However, the detainees' attorneys have yet to receive it. Since the SOE was declared on December 30th, Hines has issued 18 detention orders, with detainees identified as high-risk individuals linked to violent crimes, gang activity and firearm trafficking. The tribunal is tasked with reviewing each case and determining whether continued detention is necessary. Hearings are conducted privately, with detainees allowed to present their case personally or through legal representation. Internationally, Elon Musk has denied claims of a hostile takeover of the U.S. government as he leads a major cost-cutting initiative under President Donald Trump. Speaking at the White House, Musk defended efforts to reduce federal spending and shrink government agencies, calling them common-sense reforms. Critics, including Democrats, argue the changes lack transparency and could have serious repercussions. Trump has signed an order giving Musk's Department of Government Efficiency more power to reduce the federal workforce. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Naomi Macnish. Thanks for watching.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Welcome back to the program this morning. So this last segment is a little exciting. Just the season, it is Carnival. So let's highlight some local artists. This morning we have with us, he might be a familiar face or a familiar name, Heaven Snaky Charles with us on the program. Good morning, Mr. Charles, and welcome.
Pleasant good morning. Good morning, good morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. So before we start off, can you tell us where did we get this name from? Snaky.
Well, Snaky is a name that I coined myself many moons ago, based on the origin and the style of name. You could know from the old dancehall and dub era, like with names like Daddy Lizard and Tiger and Super Cat. I was singing since those days, like chanting on the block with the friends in the neighborhood and so on. And I have a brother by the name of Kimba. He used to sing as Santa P, and a neighbor used to sing as Scorpion. And, they used to influence me, and I went on to name myself Daddy Snaky.
Right.
Yes.
That's an interesting story to see. But so, Mr. Charles, can I call you Mr. Charles? Or Snaky?
Yes, you can.
Mr. Charles, great. Can you just talk, well, we're here to talk about you, and you've made it to the finals of a new competition, a soca competition in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ultimate Soca Championship.
Definitely.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. How does it feel? I mean, when you started the competition, you were a reserve, and then now all of a sudden you've made it to the finals. So, how does that? How do you feel? Let's talk. Unpack that a bit.
Well, definitely, it is a warm feeling. I'm very happy, excited too. That journey into the competition was a sort of strange one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to enter in the inception. You know, friends Dion and Cece, they are both colleagues of mine who is part of the same band, Brass to the World. They were, you know, prompting me saying they're going into the competition and why I don't enter. And well, I've been in the Soca Monarch, International Soca Monarch final twice before. I placed third with the Dirty Song in 2014. That year, Marshall won, and it had a three-way tie with Destra, Iowa, and Mr. Killer. I came right after with points with the Dirty Song, and also I was in the final the next year in 2015 with a song entitled Kia Rhyme. So I am no stranger really to the stage, that type of stage, but again, you know, is vibes and energies. But evidently I went into the competition. I was actually the last person to audition.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, and I know you said you watched back your performance and it made you very emotional to the point where you cried. You know, what was going through your mind at that time?
Well, I'm very passionate about what I do, and most performers and artists can tell you, before anything happens, like externally, it has happened internally. Internal. So after performing that night at the amphitheater there in Napariba Bowl, when I lifted the lady and ran off stage, I felt a magic.
Yes.
And most of us in the creative arena, when you feel that magic, it means something. So I was happy from at the end of the performance. And then when the next day I was heading to work, and my wife sent me a copy of the performance that she taped while she was in the audience. And I had a chance to absorb the performance, and there's where, you know, tears came to my eyes and stuff. And, you know, it is have to happen internal before external then. It's a divine thing. I believe that this is 100% God work, and He is the giver of everything, and all praises and all glory to God. You know?
Of course. Mr. Charles, so the finals are just around the corner on February 20th, 2025 at the Queen's Park Savannah. And you are going up against some very known, very talented artists, Nyla Blackman, Black Adan, Young Brother. These are people who are right now, they are, you know, on the forefront of everyone's mind. You know, they're known. So how are you preparing for the finals? What are you doing that will set you apart?
Well, being myself. Being myself is the short answer to it. And putting God first. Now, again, I am also the 2023 Young King Calypso Monarch, and also the Independence Diamond Jubilee Calypso Monarch, which the Monarch reigns for 10 years. And that competition has been won by Lord Briner, Chuck Gordon, and a host of legendary icons and calypsonians, or men of the arts, if you may, you know. Young Kings has been won by the likes, you know, Dwayne O'Connor. Most at least we know today, Bungie Garlin won it a year. And I am no stranger to competition. I definitely don't feel fazed by, all right, the popular names and stuff, because God made everybody, made everyone, you know what I mean? I don't think that is like man with double M and then, or triple M, and then I am just a man with one M.
Right.
I believe that God made everyone, and it's all about you using your experience now and what you have to bring to life what you're presenting and what you're bringing. So I'm quite comfortable, and our team are working, feverishly to bring the best show that we can possibly bring to that final stage.
Yeah, so I know the song that took you to the finals is The Hammer. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So apart from that, what other songs can we expect from you this season? Are there any new songs, or how many songs?
Yes, definitely. Actually, tomorrow night, which is Valentine's, at the same venue, which is Naparima Bowl, Kaiso Showcase, which is the 10th I perform with, I'm a member of. We have judging night down at Naparima Bowl tomorrow night. The song that I'm doing there is entitled Live Like Lisa. It's a commemorative piece done to highlight the goods, the life of Miss Lisa Morris Julian, who, tragically and fortunately died in the fire along with 2 other children. I don't know if you remember that tragedy. My calypso for this year is entitled Live Like Lisa, and it commemorates the life of the MP, deceased MP. So people can look for that on YouTube. Live Like Lisa, and I have another song entitled Ella with my Shaft, Mr. Jason Shaft Bishop. So I always record music from whatever genre, parang, soca, calypso, also chutney soca. So,
right.
I always try to keep up with the music.
So all these different genres that you sing, is there any one in particular that is your strong suit, that you're most comfortable in?
Well, I am most comfortable with entertainment. So, and then I'm a patriotic person. So, I would say if I were to hold any genre at the helm, I would say calypso, because calypso happens to be the mother of all the subgenres: soca, chutney, rapso, raga soca. And had influence in reggae, had influence in soul and pop, and the musical, landscape has been heavily influenced by calypso. So I will put calypso above all the rest.
Yeah. I took a look at your performance, I believe it was for the semifinals, and it was very energetic, a lot of passion. I saw it. What inspires your style of performance?
Well, I am the 7th child for my mom and dad, well, for my mom, and 10th for my dad. We came from very humble beginnings, and many times when we didn't have much toys, and so we had to kind of entertain ourselves. So I always found myself in a place where I wanted to create some kind of vibe for my siblings, and they were always like, what we gonna do, what we gonna do? And I will put on a show, I will sing for them, and whatnot. So coming up wasn't easy in terms of getting by in the business. I had a lot of, stumbling blocks. Sometimes you go a place to perform and get through. Sometimes you don't hear your song on the radio, and you come from that place. So being able to express myself at this level right now is a joy and a fulfillment. And also, I fear the Lord, and again I take very serious the scripture that God gave the different people the different talents, and some didn't use it, and he took back and gave to the others. God gave me a talent, and I intend to use it to the fullest and its entirety. As while saying that, if you look at almost all the competitions in Trinidad and Tobago, that I am eligible enough to enter, qualified enough to enter, fit enough to enter, I do enter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I see it as giving back to the culture, supporting the culture, and using the talent that God gives to me.
Yes. So far we know that we can expect to see you at the finals of the Ultimate Soca Championship. That's February 20th at the Queen's Park Savannah. And then we have the Kaiso Showcase at Napa River Bowl tomorrow. That's the 14th of February. So where else can we expect to see Snakey this carnival season?
Nice. Well, for sure. Well, tomorrow. Well, nice tonight. Tonight I'll be at the Queen's Park Savannah performing. Also, I do some work with 105, CT 105. We have Bottle and Spoon, they call it Bottle and Spoon Line. That is a near friendly neighborhood bar near you. Added to that, on the road, Monday, with our band, Brass of the World, we have mass band. That is Blow Mano Blow. Mama, this is mass, as is the presentation. But this year, that with Brass of the World, with both Master and Day, that Monday and Tuesday, we'll be with Powder Pussy. We also in Brass Bacchanal this year, Brass of the World, we placed third last time and second the year before that. And a number of different places. I don't have my itinerary in front of me. And it reached the point now where, you know, I have to go to that to kind of verify most of the work I'm doing. And, you know, happy that, again, I say that I have the opportunity now to express my musical ability and the gift that God has given to me.
Yeah, Mr. Charles, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but, you know, for our viewers who probably don't know your song right now, The Hammer, can you give us a little taste? Sing a line or two?
No, go on. Tilele, 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 Lord, yeah. My woman is very generous. She friends and family, she put them first. Yeah. As a good man, I just always try to do everything she say. But I feel she wouldn't get that today. Cause she asking me, she want me to lend, she friend. Me hammer. She want me to lend, she friend. Me hammer. Me hammer. Oh gosh, now, look back canal. If I lend she that, she will want to bring it back. No, look back canal. If I fling it so, she will want to let it go. No.
Yeah, lovely. that was really, really good. Well done. I think that is, because I will admit, I have not heard the full song, but you did an amazing job at just, you know, singing and getting people to hear it. So I hope our viewers now will go and listen to the song because it is a great song.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yes.
So before we wrap up, Mr. Charles, would you like to just, you know, say something to your fans, to your supporters, in terms of the upcoming finals, you know?
Okay, my song, The Hammer, it's of, I would like to say, a vintage nature. It reminds me of small pennies chocolate and just to name one. But this is where our calypso was, and soca, you know, the kind of the beginning of the soca kind of energy was. Blacks, Dexter Stewart, deceased Black Dexter Stewart was one of my mentors too, and he had this rich Creole flavor in his music, where we, you know, I call an answer, a dance, a kind of vibe, a love way. And this is the Hammer in 2025. Is a nostalgic kind of energy that got blast from the past, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm urging people to come out and support this ultimate soca champion, because for a couple of years we had no soca monarch. Hats off to Rome and the whole team for bringing back some you know, glimmer hope to the youths who've been recording the music and who want a stage and a platform to express themselves. Let us come out and support this. It will help the youths, it will help the culture, it will help Trinidad and Tobago being the mecca of soca and calypso.
Yeah.
Mr.
Charles, I really wanted to end on that note, but I have two questions, and I don't think I can finish this segment without asking. Are you performing in Skinner Park this day?
No, my opportunity to make it and qualify for Skinner Park is on Friday night in Naparima Bowl. They call it judging night. And how this process goes is a panel of judges goes to each tent and judge the interested calypsonians, judge the calypsos, and then they will select who they pick for the semi-final. So I haven't been judged yet, so I don't know what my fate is. But after God, I will go to do my best on Friday, and hopefully on the 22nd in Skinner Park, I will be there, hopefully.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, well, full support in that. I do hope you get to perform in Skinner Park. Last question for you. In terms of your songs, do you write your own songs?
Yes, well, I wrote The Hammer. I wrote also Blackie the Black-Nosed Potong for the Christmas people who remember Blackie the Black-Nosed Potong. I wrote The Dirty Short, If a Dirty Short, Length It With Cloth. I also wrote 60 Years and Counting. That is my piece that I won the Young Kings with and the Independence Calypso Monarch. The song that I was in Skinner Park with last year also, Wake Up Calypso, I wrote that also. So I very much into the penmanship.
Yes.
But that though doesn't mean that, you know, a good song, if a good writer call me and say, Snakey, I had a song by hearing you in it, you know, I do listen, and I do, you know, select songs to do also. I've sung songs already before, written by other artists. Actually, one of my songs that I sang this year, it was written by Jason Sharp Bishop and produced by Mill Beats.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
So, well, we have a question that just came in from our guys in Master Control. Apart from the Kaiso Showcase, are you performing in any other tents this season?
Well, I'm contracted to Kaiso Showcase. What we do, you know, secure a contract with our Calypso tent, and you may like do a guest appearance in another tent from time to time, right? Only tonight I'll be performing in Queens Park, Savannah. I got a call yesterday from Impulse, and they're doing some work at the Savannah there. That is the only thing in front of me in terms of that tent and stuff. But I'm open. I still have 1 or 2 dates still open for anyone who would like me to come and do a performance, you know, at their tent or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mr. Charles, thank you so much for joining me on the program this morning. It was a pleasure talking with you You have a lovely voice, and I wish you all the best this carnival season, and specifically with the Kaiser Showcase as well as the Ultimate Soca Championship.
Yes. Thanks for having me, and the pleasure was all mine.
Of course.
And anytime.
Yes.
Anytime.
Thanks so much.
And
Well, hopefully,
if I could say one more thing,
of course.
I want to tell all the Calypsonians, remember, and not only Calypsonians, but just humans on the whole, us as a people, remember we're just passing through, and God, keep God as number one in your life. Everything that we're doing is just for a time. There are greater people that were here before us and they went. We have to know that the most we could do is be kind to somebody else, be a human, be loving and whatnot, because we are here for just a short time. Love, manners, respect.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Thanks, yeah.
So that was Heaven Snaky Charles. He's a finalist among many other talented artists at the Ultimate Soca Championship. That's a new soca competition here in Trinidad and Tobago. So we wish Mr. Charles, as well as all the other contestants, all the best. And we do hope to have a good show. So if you are interested to go and support the Ultimate Soca Championship finals is on February 20th at the Queen's Park, Savannah. So that's a wrap on this morning's episode of AM Prime. I'm Naomi McNish, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. It is a good day to have a great day. Thank you.
WESN.
Folks, we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
The Constitution doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country, and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figure.